Well, Steve, this is the 12th of 12 steps, but really it's the first circle group. We'll put this up on circles also for everybody to see again. And what we'll be talking about is compare and contrast. Now, I'm 75, I don't hide that. And one thing I learned in my life was to always compare and contrast this versus this versus that to come up with what I feel comfortable with, what I want to do, and how I want to accomplish it.
Okay.
Because without that, I don't care what subject you're talking about, nothing gets done.
Right.
9 times out of 10 people daydream and they come up with some wonderful thoughts, and I'm sure you've had them, I have, and we do nothing about it because we didn't get to the compare and contrast. So when I say I visualize a project finished,
Okay.
an example is your last quad.
Mhm.
Would you tell me what your last quad was, the number of apartments, the amount of time it took to fix up and bring it up to the code, and then the amount of rents coming in, and then some of your expenses, and then what you have left for Steve every month thereafter? Other barring, you might have to put a new roof on sometime in the future, but I think you could say you put a certain amount of money off to the side for long-term maintenance.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
so it's like a budget item like taxes or insurance or
Mhm.
the water bill or the trash collection.
Mhm.
But it's important that you build up a cash in there so that when you do get hit with something like you need a new roof, and God forbid, you know, you put a new roof on when you fix it up, and then 20 years later you got to put a new roof on, and you got to collect rents for another 20 years. So tell me about your last project in detail, would you please?
Yes.
By the way, this is going to be a little longer in terms of a video because we want to discuss the nuts and bolts of this. Okay?
So this last unit again was a 4 unit. I typically look for quads for 4 unit. I prefer to work with brick buildings. They tend to work best for me. So this is one that I had actually looked at several years back, maybe actually 08, 09. But the owner was not willing to, come to the price that I wanted to at this time. Had a change of heart over
He had
several
a
years.
change
He
of
had a
heart.
change of heart
He had a change of
over
heart.
several years, and then we were able to get it around the price point that I typically, like to buy the units. The numbers worked for me, so we were able to.
Wait a minute, and we'll discuss the numbers today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was able to acquire it, and we had about, from the estimate, when you do your estimates of the build, it would take maybe a month and a half for me to totally get everything the way I wanted and to actually start getting tenants in.
So in other words, it takes you a month to a month and a half to get the property after you buy it completely fixed up, the code, make sure all the faucets are in good shape or working brand new, whatever.
Correct.
And so you don't have much of a maintenance headache.
Correct.
So you spend some money in the front and you make
Right.
sure you buy quality stuff.
Yes.
Now that sounds kind of strange because this is low income housing and you're buying quality stuff. Would you explain why you buy quality stuff?
Well, you do that, one, because you want to make sure that the tenants come in, that they see a quality product, right, for what they're in. And again, that gives you an advantage over, other units that they may be looking
I
at.
see. So like traditionally in an apartment, there's 3 faucets. Okay, and you buy 3 quality faucets, the shower, bathtub. You buy a quality vanity and sink
Mhm.
and faucet that is real quality, and you buy a nice sink and a nice faucet for the sink,
Mhm.
and it's got all the whistles and bells and makes people happy.
Yes.
And then they stay in and they continue to run it and they take care of it.
Exactly.
Ah,
Yes. So we did that a month and a half, got it on schedule, and just started to acquire tenants once we got one done, and then that once the first tenant comes in, word of mouth gets in, even in the neighborhood, that hey, you have a reputation of building good units, so that who we work with.
So you're buying properties in the same city, in the same section of
Generally,
the
yes.
town, and maybe
Yes.
the same
Yeah.
voting ward or whatever?
Yeah, and you know, you always want to invest in areas that you're comfortable with, that you know with, and then again, it's easier for me because I have, you know, a section of a town of the area that I like to deal with. I know the comps in the neighborhood. I maybe have invested in that.
Comps.
Yes, so similar situated properties.
Oh, the price of them and the condition of them?
Price of them and
Okay.
what the bank may look at and see if you do a refinance. You may have done one previously. They know it's going to be in that general vicinity. It makes it a little easier.
Okay.
So again, once we build that, have that completed, you know, it's good for you see that tenant is in. It builds a little positive momentum. People in the neighborhood see it. You can get word of mouth.
Well, let me ask you a question. That one tenant, and you got 4 of them in the property, right?
Yes.
That one tenant, I'm gonna cheat and say the rent's 400.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your expenses are roughly 200 of the 400. So every month you are, because you took the bother and you bought a piece of property and you made it set up for seniors and retirees, and you take good care of the property and them, you get to put $200 a month in your pocket
Roughly, yes.
for the next 45 years.
Yes.
Would you sell it in the future?
No.
And what's the reason you wouldn't sell
Because
it? $200 a month's a nice profit on one tenant.
yeah, and that's your passive income that you'll have over time.
Now, that tenant doesn't mind paying that $400 because you've got the nice fixtures, you've got the carpet in right, you've got the walls done right, you've got the ceiling, the front door, you've got a nice lock on it, you've got, hopefully later on you can go get a grant to be able to put new windows and new doors in that mean a better heating situation for them, less cost for them and that sort of thing.
And they know that when there is an issue, that we're going to take care of the property.
So your property manager does that?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so you don't get involved with that traditionally unless she chooses to call you?
Exactly. Or not. Besides calling the contractor, call the maintenance person if they can't do that. So yeah, property manager takes care of all that.
So you do the business management?
Right. I am the manager of the property as the owner. Yes.
Okay, and then your property manager handles all the day-to-day?
Yes.
And you pay her, as you said before?
Yes.
Is she worth it?
Every cent. Every cent of it, yes.
Okay, and you don't mind treating her decently and politely and everything else?
No, because they do the same thing and take care of the tenants. So don't mind paying that at all.
But you have to have an agreement with her as to what is going to go on, how, for instance, if somebody takes sick and goes to the hospital, how you handle that,
Yes.
that sort of thing?
Yes.
Okay, so you got control of that?
Yes.
Okay. So your property manager was chosen carefully because she understands the area, she understands the people, she understands because she's a senior herself and she handles all that?
Yes.
Good. Good. So, let me ask you a question. When you buy a quad or you buy a single house,
Mm-hmm.
a single house, you always want to buy a nicer house like the one you live in, right?
It depends on, for me, I'm strictly looking at the cash flow. And,
Okay,
and
but-
the way we,
But I'm talking about normal people.
under normal circumstances, yes, you'd like to deal with stuff that you may live in or be comfortable in.
Okay, so the price goes down in the neighborhood that you live in, God forbid, but it does.
Right.
And it goes up and it goes down.
Right.
It does whatever it does, and I don't care.
Right.
And when it goes up, you feel good. When it goes down, you're worried and all
Nervous.
kinds of strange
A little
things.
nervous.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Do you worry about that stuff with these low-income quads?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Why?
Because
You
the
bought it right?
correct, and as long as I'm taking care of the property, the tenants are paying, the cash flow, the mortgage is paid, and I don't really worry about the value of the property.
I'm going to ask you an embarrassing question. Can I do that? Because you're bigger, stronger, and uglier than I am when you're mad.
Sure.
One quad will pay your house mortgage. Want it where you live in a nice neighborhood?
Yeah, depending on your house, but 1 to 2, yes.
So that makes income where you have a stable life.
Very much so.
So
Very much so.
that's why you like to go out and get another one carefully bought and get it online. You want a doubly
Do the
stable
exact
life.
same
Do you
thing.
want to double that up?
Do the exact same thing.
Okay. And then after you do that, you feel pretty good about yourself.
Yes.
You feel kind of frisky, but you want to relax for 2 or 3 months.
So we go to the beach.
Okay, you go to the beach, but oh, wait a minute. So we've talked about this before. You go to the beach and you maintain you're watching the ocean because your fiance might see this, right?
Right.
And there happen to be beautiful things walking in between the beach and the ocean, and you just can't help miss them, but that's all right. Anyway, let's go back to the compare and contrast.
Yes.
So if you bought a house in a neighborhood to rent it, an expensive house, do people in your nice neighborhood have economic problems?
Of course.
And when they have an economic problem and you're renting to them, what happens?
They're unable to pay or something like that.
You got to evict.
And you got to evict.
Then you got to refix it up. And you got to evict. You got to,
Yeah.
and then you get tired. And that's why 97.5% of real estate investments in flipping and in higher end rentals end up in trouble because they compare them to a stock company that raises funds in stock so they don't have a mortgage payment, and then they go buy a piece of property. So let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Is it true that with this quad, if somebody, God forbid, goes to the hospice or dies or because that's when they leave, right?
Typically, yes.
If you keep the place up and
Right.
you repair things that need to be repaired promptly and all that stuff. Okay, because that's why they moved there.
Mhm.
Okay, so typically, let's say one unit becomes vacant.
Mhm.
And do you have any financial stress at that point?
No, it's just a matter of getting the property repaired and ready to rent to the next person.
Okay,